Southeast, the last division. And the last time we're going to be talking about these 5 teams, I wanted to wear a jersey today. I'm wearing Embiid. Can't really see it. I wanted to pay respect to the man, the Brody. He is being on a tear. The Brody is balling right now. We're going to talk about the Washington Wizards first. They are 3-1 this week. I think they're 7-3 in their last 10. They keep on rolling. And they look like a real problem heading into the postseason. 32 and 36 overall. Just jumped up from 10th to 9th in the East. Matt, you must be very happy about this.
I'm absolutely elated with the Wizards' performance. Like you say, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're actually 13-3 in their last 16. Ooh. So their performance has just been fantastic of late. And those 3 defeats which they've had, they've been a 1-point loss to the Bucks, a 1-point loss to the Mavs, and a 3-point loss to the Spurs in overtime. So they are competitive games that they have lost in. In fact, their only other loss after that, those 13-3, was a 30-point odd defeat to the Suns. So they've been in very competitive games of late against strong opposition too. And you look at the teams that they've played against this week, they've beaten the Pacers twice. The Pacers, they've obviously overtaken them now for that 9th spot. And those 2 wins, a really good win, 154 to 141 at the start of this week. And then just the other day, overtime win by 1 point, which was an unbelievable performance from Russell Westbrook in that game. Like, we can talk about Russell Westbrook all night, but this game in particular against the Pacers, he hit 2 free throws with 1.3 seconds remaining in overtime. And this is a man who's been shooting at, 64% from free throw all season. And he comes clutch with those 2 free throws. They were down 132 to 131, and he makes them to put them ahead with 1 second to go. And then he goes and gets the block on Caris LeVert as Caris LeVert goes for the 3-pointer for the win. So unbelievable performance from Westbrook there to seal the victory for the Wizards. But those 2 results against the Pacers are really key, especially if they come up against them in a playing tournament.
Yes, indeed. And where do we head for my last stat line of the week? Let's just talk about Westbrook's stats.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. The first Pacers game, 14, 21, and 24. No. Ridiculous. I think that's my combined stats in all of basketball history. Anyway, the next game, 29, 12, and 17. The next game against Raptors, 13, 17, and 17. And then, like you said, in the final Pacers game, 33, 19, and 15. Yes, he had 7 turnovers. Okay. It matters when you're winning games. I think we're split. I think there's some people here in the 6th man that don't like Westbrook or don't respect Westbrook. Is there anybody who's not really digging this whole Westbrook train? Because he's getting a lot of love recently.
No, I'm on the train.
I'm in first class, my friend.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's an easy train to jump on. I'm just going to say, yeah. Well, go on, Ed.
Would any of you guys have him in top 5 point guards ever?
Top 10.
I don't think anyone
point guards.
I don't think anyone's doing that. I think he's just unique. That's why everyone loves him. He is one of one. Like, no one else is doing anything like this. You're kind of seeing it from Luka, kind of, but the way they do it is totally different because Luka's way more of a finesse player, whereas Westbrook is just a force of nature like no one's ever seen. Like the sort of thing that, imagine if Derrick Rose was healthy, like that kind of athleticism. And I don't think Derrick Rose could do this. Like, it's just insane. Like, and I don't know if we'll ever see it again. It's a little bit like the Charles Barkley thing. Like, he's a one of one. You don't see guys do it in this particular way. And I think that is why everyone's loving him, obviously, because he's rolling at the moment, not so much at the start of the season where it was a bit ugly.
Well, I love the fact that we've come together on this and we are a Westbrook love podcast because I can't hate this man. The only thing I want from you, Ross, and if you're listening, please perform in the postseason. That's the only thing people are having against you. Well, I mean, perform in the postseason, but if you play Philly, don't perform. We're all good. Yeah, don't turn up now. All right. So Matt, basically, Westbrook tied Big O's record, triple-double record for the most in his career in 181. I wanted to ask you a question. Out of points, rebounds, and assists, ranking best to worst, what do you think is like the best out of those three metrics that he is in? What would you rank?
I think probably the rebounds
Cinema.
yeah, like he's 6'3". Like he should not be getting that many rebounds, but that just shows the pure grit and determination, as Bray mentioned, of just grabbing those boards. And he what is it? He got 21 rebounds against the Pacers the other day. That was a new career high. Like Rudy Gobert grabs 20 rebounds, and that's an impressive night. This is Russell Westbrook. He's 6'3". Like people forget this at times. That he's just this guy that you'd see walking down the street in the UK and you would not bat an eyelid. So he's dominating, and I'd say rebounds to me, but equally the assists he tallies are impressive as well. So yeah, he's just an absolute monster on the stat line.
And also, we need to shout out Bradley Beal. He dropped 50 in the last game. We don't want him to go unnoticed because Westbrook is getting a lot of the attention. Beal still needs them to turn up if they're going to win these games, and he has been doing in a big way. Matt, close it out for the Wizards. They currently sit in 9th. Postseason projections, has it been fun having them as your team?
I think, obviously, with the Wizards, we got off to a bit of a rocky start. They had a bit of a poor start to the season. A lot of those issues you could probably put down to injury, COVID protocols. There was a long period for a good 6 or 7 weeks where they were missing key players for a lot of time due to COVID. I'd say of late, the past 2 months' performance, they have been such a solid team, which shows that the determination from Westbrook, from Beal, from the supporting cast in terms of pushing for this play-in spot, because they were sitting very close to the bottom of that Eastern Conference standings, and they are now well within reach of even that 8th spot. They've got 4 games left. They're only 1 game behind the Hornets, and the Hornets have got the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Knicks in 3 of those games, whilst the Wizards have the Hawks twice, and I believe the Cavs. And then in the final game of the season, the Wizards and the Hornets play each other.
Oh, you love to see it, don't you?
And this is
you love to see it.
These 4 games for both the Hornets and the Wizards could be so crucial, because that decides whether you finish 8th or 9th, and whether you only have to win 1 game to make the playoffs or 2. So it's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. It's another emotional moment, isn't it? The Atlanta Hawks. He's wearing the jersey. Is this goodbye? Is this see you in a bit? Who knows? All I know is that thank God you got rid of Lloyd Pierce, and Nate steps in. He's turned around your season. 2-1 this week. 37 and 31 overall. You're 5th in the East, bro. And I'm actually very happy for you, because your team has struggled for a while since those, I guess, those glory days of the Player of the Month team edition, or road to the second round. So yeah,
glory days. Yeah, it's that's a tough take, but it's finally looking up. And what's great is that we've done it with young guys, so the future is bright as long as we pay the right people and come to the right agreements. We touched on it when we were talking about the Blazers earlier. Had a great win against the Blazers. Gallinari 7 of 10 from 3-point shooting, had 28 overall. But alongside that, Bogdanovic had 25. Trey had 21 points and 11 assists. Trey in all 3 of the games has had double-digit numbers in assists, which is great. He's actually now 2nd behind Westbrook in assists, so hopefully he keeps that, because he's a whole assists higher than the guy in 3rd, which is Chris Paul. So I'd love to see him finish in top 3 assists. That'd be awesome. We also played the Suns. That was a really interesting game.
Big win.
Big win. But for the first half, by the end of the first half, it was a 2-point game, and then by the end of it, it was blown wide open. And what was so impressive about it was that our starters went out and our bench just went completely mental. We had, Lou Williams and Kevin Herder handling the ball predominantly, and then setting up a Okongwu play after play. And he had 3 highlight dunks in that game, which was awesome. It's great to see because I've expressed my concern about what he might become in the NBA. That he's still got a long way to go, but it's nice to see. And then finally, in our third game, we played the Pacers, and that was a game that we lost. Strange that we would lose to them, to be honest. I mean, look, they got a lot of firepower in the same way that we do, but they're not particularly a big team. We play teams that don't have very many dominant big guys. We tend to beat them. But very weird game, because we still had guys who had 3 players who had 25 points or more. But we couldn't seem to pull it out. And Gallo still had 17. So even though he wasn't 25 plus, we had multiple guys in double digit scoring. But it just unfortunately didn't quite work out for us on that, unfortunately. Stat I saw when I was watching the Phoenix game, which I thought was really cool, just alongside the whole thing with Trey being second in the league in assists. In terms of players like assist duos, so Trey Young to Clint Capella is second in the league in total number of assists, and at the same time Trey to John Collins is 5th. So that's a really cool fact that 2 lob threats there that Trey's been getting them to. And I think 3rd on the list was Curry and Draymond. And I know Draymond's a good passer, but I just think that if Curry is making the shots he makes, it's like, is that? I just think that John Collins to Trey Young might as well be 4th, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be Denzel Valentine to Cristiano Felicio, number 1. That's really surprised me.
Stop it, yeah? Stop it.
I thought,
Denzel's,
are you back on the Bulls?
Denzel's fine, but we can throw Cristiano under the bus. It's okay.
Baldy, I want to talk to you about Trigger Trey. So last season, Trey launched 430 3-pointers from 25 to 29 feet. Did this at 35%. This season, he's shrunk that down to 242, and he's also shooting at 35%. He's done the exact same thing at 30 to 34 feet, which is the Dame range. Last season, he took 81 shots. He shot 32%. This year, he's only taken 56, and he's also at 32%. So how important do you think it is that his short selection has led to his development this year, and about how the Hawks have made that jump? How important do you think that is?
I think it's the most important thing to our success as a team moving forward, because we obviously had a young star. We had him for 2 years. Our record's up. We didn't get into the playoffs. His adjustments had to match the moves that the front office was making in the off season when we brought in all of these free agents. So the fact that he has made those adjustments in line with the other offensive threats that the team has brought in just shows evidence to the kind of leader that he wants to be and the ball movement that he wants to put. But the fact that he has been able to change that in one season just shows how talented that he is, because he could have put down it shows that he doesn't need to take such a high volume of shots to maintain his percentages, which can be a risk with other guys. I mean, I think there's a little bit of that in him, but those numbers show you that he can be adaptable.
Yeah. Well, wrap it up for me, Wildy. That's it.
These are my guys, man. I love them. I'm always going to watch them. Whether they fall to me or not in any drafts, we'll see what happens next season. Hopefully I can get in the second round, or maybe third. We'll see how my board works out once I find out what pick I get. John. Looking forward to see what goes on, man.
Well, listen, man. If you pick Philly, then I'm definitely picking your Hawks. That's what I'm gonna say. So don't let it happen. Yeah. Excuse me. Who cares about the Hawks? I can't hear you because the connection all over the place. Got him. Right, just go there.
Chat shit.
I suppose one more thing I'll say about the
Go
Hawks
on.
as well is I'm most excited I've been for the future and what we could be doing. I feel we're in the best position we've been in, whereas before we've had a lot of older guys that didn't really gel well together, and it hasn't worked out for us. But yeah, we seem to have a chemistry.
Nice ending. All right, cool. Let's move to Buzz C. Buzz City, 2-2 this week, 33 and 35 overall. I think it's been a really good season for Charlotte. I think they have revitalized their culture, and they are probably they're the best league pass team, one of the most exciting teams in the NBA. Highlights everywhere. And if your team can be bad and you can be entertaining, but if you're actually decent, that's a plus as well. So we are going to head to House of 03 to talk about Charlotte for the last time. Actually, the last regular season time, because they should be in the playoffs. Am I right?
Yeah. So again, for me, surprisingly, this one is again another emotional one. I got them for the final pick, and I was so happy I landed them. I felt like I played the board a little bit. I like to up myself for that. But yeah, like you said, I have to second what you said. Watching the Hornets this season, I never thought I would ever say this about the Hornets, but they have definitely been one of the, if not the most entertaining teams in the league this season, without a doubt. And that's even with the injuries as well. They have truly been fighting, but unfortunately, that is the story coming out again this week with all the consistent injuries coming up. Their current record, 33 and 35. Again, they've in that 8th spot. So it's, like I said, I've been watching the Hornets this season and watching that bottom place as well, and it is so tense, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping they make it in and end that playoff drought. Yeah, so this week, Hornets 2-2, and in their last 10, 5-5. So again, like usually when it comes to ties throughout this season, I've been like saying, oh, it's not good, it's not bad, I'm fine with it. But in this situation, it's super tense. So this isn't really what we want to see. Even though we're not giving up great ground, we still want, as I'm saying we a lot, we still want to see that progression. We want to make that fight and widen that gap a lot more. So it's been tough, and they're battling, and it feels very much, I always like using this, but that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack Sparrow is first coming in and his boat is sinking and he just makes it to the dock while he knows. So that's what it feels like at the moment. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that we can hold on to that 8th spot, but we'll see. Like this week, again, it's been tough. We lost to the Heat, 121 to 111. We did win against the Pistons, which was good, I'm happy with, but unfortunately going after that, we lost to the Bulls and we lost to the Pelicans as well. And with those, I feel for them, those 2 games were 2 big opportunities, especially for the Pelicans game, where they lost out by 2 points. And with that, they had like a total of 29 possessions towards the final quarter, I think it was, and only scored 14 points from that. Oh. So that is not performing well at all. It's not really what you want to see, especially at this point. And again, as I mentioned, they've lost players with Gordon Hayward, which we have no idea when he's coming back. I highly doubt it that he's going to make it back before the playoffs. Keeping fingers crossed that they make it for that. But along with Gordon Hayward, they've lost Miles Bridges, Devontae Graham as well. So a big list, and this continues as well. So,
well, yeah. Miles Bridges, he might be off the court, but he's shooting his shot elsewhere. I'll tell you that much. Miles Bridges was seen on Kalani's TikTok saying he would drink her bathwater. We all know Kalani and Kyrie used to date. George, don't get fired on this segment. Is there any celebrity you'd like to shoot your shot with?
Oh, celebrity I like to shoot my shot with. Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. You put me on, man. Oh, bro, my mind's gone blank at that one.
Drop a name. You know a name.
Drop a name.
Stop lying to us. Everybody's got a name.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go for that cocoa butter, that melanin. So I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say Rihanna. Might as well.
Oh, cocoa butter. I was like, okay. Rihanna. All right. Well, let's see if it works.
Can we have a quick Rihanna versus Beyonce? Can we have a quick Rihanna versus Beyonce? Hands up if you're Rihanna.
I mean, do I have to pick one?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
I'd rather not.
Is this music or aesthetic?
Wait, go music first. Because I want to hear Wildy's answer for
good
music.
Side question.
No, music is Rihanna.
It seems like me and Wildy are on the same wavelength for this call.
Okay, I think the music will go. I'd go with Rihanna. Yeah.
Fair.
I'm saying Beyonce personally.
I ain't answering the other one because I don't want to get fired.
Annie listens to this.
He ain't talking about a podcast.
Yeah. What happened here, Alex? What are you turning on, man?
Listen, man. People want to know. People want to know which bathwater you would drink, Joe. No.
Hold on, Alex. Alex, we know. Drink. Alex, wait, go. We have to flip this question on Alex if he's going to ask Jordan.
So we're going to move on to the Orlando.
Having that sweat real quick, sir.
Did you see him looking around the room? Did you see Alex scanning the room to see if there's any
checking corners?
Alex, are you sure you locked the door, mate? Do you want to check it? Do you want to check you locked the door?
Maybe just message Jenna right now.
I'll get into the bedroom and it will be the. Yeah. Right. Let's head to House Askew for the last time in division discussions and let's speak about his home squad. It might be a bit emotional. Maybe you're happy that the season's over and you're ready for the next one. Who knows? Maybe you're ready for the draft lottery. The Magic have gone 1-3 this week. They are also in tank mode. They're 21-47 overall. Seems like a lot of teams have got that similar type of record. Yeah. It's getting very tense. But yeah, let's talk about Magic.
So we're not going to talk about the record because it doesn't really matter. I've got the number 1 seed locked up. It's fine. The Magic can tank. Like, as I said, we had an internal meeting where we said, Orlando, you can do what you want. The rest of the 5 will pick up the slack. So it's fine. We've had a consistent starting lineup past week or so because we've had injuries. And that has been Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Dwayne Bacon, Mo Wagner, who we just picked up like a couple. Yeah, exactly. And Mo Bamba. So that's been our starting lineup going in. And our leading scorer has been Mr. Bacon. So it tells you the state we're in at the moment.
Sizzling.
How's he leading your team in scoring?
He's not leading, but like past like a week or so, 2 weeks, he's our go-to scorer. He's the poor man's Terrence Ross, and Terrence Ross is injured. So yeah. And sort of actually what Wadi was doing when he was looking at OKC squad, I did the same thing for Orlando for like moving forward. So I've got down 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 positions, or 7 places in a 10-man rotation that I think are going to be solid. So you've got Fultz at the point guard, shooting guard, probably somewhere we're going to draft. And then 3, 4, and 5, we've got Chuma, Isaac, and Wendell Carter. And then on the bench, I really like the combo of Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton coming off the bench. RJ Hampton has had some really impressive performances recently. He's scored career high. He's been career high in points twice in the past 3 games, and he's been doing really, really well as like a secondary ball handler coming off the bench. And then we've also got Bamba as a backup 5. The interesting thing about our 2 centers is that they were drafted in the same year, back to back. We picked Bamba 5th, and then Chicago picked Wendell Carter 6th. So that's like or 5th. And I can't remember who was picked first. I think Carter was picked first. Yeah, whatever. So that's like
Bamba would have been picked first. He was quite a high prospect.
I think, yeah, Bamba 5, then Wendell 6. So I think that's quite interesting. But then it does make it awkward because they were in the same draft and they're both vying for a starting center position. And when it comes to contract negotiations, it's going to be like, okay, cool. What do we do here? So it's not like you can sort of stagger one or the other. And again, another reason I brought up Bamba is because he only started starting games when Wendell Carter got injured. So after we traded Vooch, Wendell Carter became our starter. And when Bamba had never started a game before until recently, part of it has been because of his injuries and he had long COVID. And it's just, health has been a real issue for him. You can see that in his performance. Sometimes his conditioning isn't where you want it to be. He's had some really impressive games recently, but still he doesn't have the body or the conditioning you'd want from an NBA athlete or you would expect for him to be just yet. But of course, there's external factors that come into it. So hopefully next year with some full rest and he can take his body where he needs to be. He's not recovering from an injury again. So yeah, those are like the 7 players I can see that's really promising moving forward. And I feel optimistic going into next year, but yeah, maybe I'm just being a homer.
I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm going to. I actually said in that draft video with the Denver and Magic, and I said RJ Hampton's a really good pickup for you, and he's playing well. So I'm really happy because he hasn't had much of an opportunity, and now he's finally getting it. And you see so many times where players are not in the right system or they just haven't got much of an opportunity. He's finally getting that. So kudos to him. We're going to talk about Sheck Wes's best friend, who is Mo Bamba himself. Bamba, wow. He's averaging 16.6 points per game, 16 rebounds. Yeah, that's right, 16 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 3 blocks in the last 3 out of the 4 games this week. How excited are you about Mo Bamba? We talk about the wingspan and you know, his shooting stroke is amazing. You were talking about seeing him in the rotation. Do you think he can potentially be the starting centre for you going forward?
So that's going to be a big challenge for Mo to be the starting centre because Wendell, he's shown that he can be a starter straight off the bat and provide some solid minutes and be an easier transition from Vooch to Wendell to have a solid starting centre who can provide them with defence at a good level compared to what we've had previously. Mo still has, this summer is so big for him. He can, there's an ongoing joke in Orlando Magic fandom where it's like, we're just wingspan whisperers, where we just look for wingspan. Like that was with Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac, Chuma Okeke. We love wingspan. And part of it is because the GMs in the front office, they were in they were in Milwaukee when they drafted Giannis because that's what they were looking for. That's the sort of athlete they wanted. Positionless, who can do a bunch of things on defense and can be an athlete on offense. But I think it will be a struggle for him, but hopefully, I hope he breaks through next year. And one quick thing, last thing I want to say about Bamba and Orlando in general, I want to get some guesses from you guys. How many minutes do you think Fultz, Isaac, Gordon, and Bamba play together in Orlando? The closest answer wins. How many minutes do you think they play together?
Is it actually a number? It's not 0, is it?
So, well, there goes all the suspense out of that. So, yeah, they played 0 minutes together. This is Fultz, Isaac, Gordon, and Bamba. And considering they've been on the team for about 1.5 to 2 years, it shows the level of injuries that they had at different times period and just why they decided to blow it up and why initially they felt that they could potentially do something, but it just never materialized.
Sad times. This is your final thoughts on the Orlando Magic. So the last time you're going to be speaking about them? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. Until we start talking about the draft, which I'm all here for. As we said, there's 5 or 6 teams with exactly the same record with 21 wins, sorry. But we'll get to that later, some other time. Yeah, no, it's been cool. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. They could have done something similar again this year. Apart from Toronto, I think Orlando has been the most heavily hit team in terms of this year through external factors. Toronto, of course, they're fucking playing in another country and they've had some serious health issues as well. But Orlando, I think, are second to that just because of the number of injuries they had, and they completely changed direction. If you had said to a team at the start of the year, we're going to be tanking by the end of the year, they'd have been really surprised by that. But, you know, it's cool. It's fine. We move.
Some advice for you, Ed. Do you know what's worse than being absolutely awful? Being average. That's all I'm going to say. Nobody wants to be average.
We were there. That's what, yeah, we were there. Yeah.
No, nobody wants to watch, Road to the Second Round DVD. Am I right, Wildy? Nobody wants to watch that.
I'm the proud owner of that.
Yeah, right. Man, the most scrutinized team is the last team we're going to talk about for division discussions. Just before we get into... Bro, you don't even know what side it is. You don't even know what side it is. You're showing the Nike logo, how much a fail that is. Before we get into Bray, because this is all about Bray, just a nod and a massive thank you. Let me correct this if I'm right, to B Money. Is that right, Ed? B Money?
Adman Brando, B Money. He's got a lot of aliases.
Okay, yeah, and he's got a lot of facts about the Miami Heat. Ed did a pod with him about the Heat. It's up on YouTube now. Go check out his podcast, The Pod About Nothing. He recently did a Drake draft. Some great picks in there. Some not so good. Not, thankfully 305 to my city was not on there because that's god awful. Massive shout out to him. Yeah, go check out his podcast, Pod About Nothing. Great. And also love the little nod to Seinfeld. That's unreal. Really good. Bray, the Heat, our most hated team on this pod. We hate you for it. Brian hates you for it. He watches you while you sleep. You traitor. The Miami Heat, Bray, for the hopefully the last time you have to speak about this team. I don't want you to tell. But yeah, go.
I mean, honestly, I would happily pick this team. I don't know if I pick them sixth, but maybe, who knows? They've had an amazing time recently. They are 37 and 31. They are in sixth place. They're out of the play-in. For now, they're 7 and 3 in their last 10, 3 and 1 on the week, and had a huge win against the Celtics, which not only puts them 2 games ahead of the Celtics of the play-in tournament, it also gives them the tiebreaker. So the Celtics have to finish with a better record than them in order to get out. So it almost looks like it's pretty much locked up. And interestingly, they've got 2 games ahead of the Celtics, same record as the Hawks, but the Hawks have the tiebreaker, and only 1 game behind the Knicks. So we could turn around at the end of next week, and they could be in the 4 seed if things go their way. Do I think that's likely? No, I don't. But who knows? Who knows what happens in the last week? Some teams are going to be resting players. Don't know what the matchup's going to look like. I actually checked the schedule. They have a back-to-back in their final 3 games. Wow. They are home versus Philly, at Milwaukee, at Detroit on the 14th, 15th, 16th. It's horrendous. And don't expect them to play their entire team. So yeah. It is worth mentioning in that Boston game, which was a massive win, they did almost blow the lead they had in the 4th quarter. They had the lead, obviously, through great play in the first half, but they did almost blow it. Bam wasn't very happy, to be fair enough. And you kind of go, is this team together enough? Can they play well enough as a team to close out close games, which obviously you'll need to do in the playoffs. So there are still questions there. They are, however, basically everyone's healthy now, which is awesome. Apart from the guy they traded for, Victor Oladipo, who's still out. So who knows if they'll even be seeing him in the playoffs. But other than that, everyone's had a clean run.
Let's speak about Tyler Hero, the man featured in the Jack Harlow video last year. Averaged 19, 6, and 5 in the playoff series win against the Celtics. So they won 4-2. This year, hasn't really made that jump that people expected. He's averaging 15, 4, and 3, and he's shooting 35% from 3. You've got Goran Dragic. He averaged 21 points per game and 5 assists in that Boston series as well. He's been hitting his stride recently. He's had at least 18 points in the last in 4 of the last 5 games. Hero Dragic, who is more pivotal to another Heat playoff run?
Dragic. He's been there more. Tyler Hero is still a second-year player. If push comes to shove, and I think Spoelstra will probably make this decision as well, you play Dragic down the stretch. Hero is also a bit of a defensive liability, so if you're playing Brooklyn, you don't want Kyrie switched on to Tyler Hero because he will abuse Tyler Hero.
He abuse anybody. God, that boy is.
He will.
Yeah, burn that sage. Right, for the last time, Bray, I'm happy that you're getting rid of this team. Jump off that bandwagon. Finish it off. Go
on. All the way on the bandwagon. I've loved supporting them. I like the way this team is built, and they've done the same thing they did last year, and they've got weirdly a lot better as the season's gone on through the moves they've made. Like Trevor Ariza is playing a lot of minutes. He's playing really well for them. And it's weird, like Kelly and Olynyk was probably the best player in that trade and has shown to be the best player. However, the Heat are better off without him because the minutes are going to other people who fit into their system a bit better, I think, in my opinion.
Dwayne Dedman, baby.
Well, and he's
great pickup. Love Dwayne Dedman.
Raving about Dwayne Dedman. Their whole team has been raving about it. And honestly, the only reason they've got him in there so he can play against Joel Embiid for a bit. Literally.
Good luck.
That would be the only reason. Well, it's just another body, isn't it? You throw a big body at Joel Embiid for 10 minutes in a playoff game, maybe even less, just to give Bam a rest. Because otherwise, they don't really have anyone else at center. So I totally rate that. They've obviously made some great moves in the front office. They're still trying to tie all these pieces together. I don't doubt they'll be able to work it out. Honestly, if I'm them, I would be pushing hard for that 4th, 5th seed, because it means you get to avoid a first round against Milwaukee, which is going to be tough. I reckon they could beat, it's not out of the realms of possibility. They could beat Milwaukee, but they would not be favored, rightly so. Whereas in a 4-5 matchup, I think they definitely would be favored and can then basically get a little bit of time to work it out before getting to the second round. And then maybe facing off against Philadelphia, who, Jimmy is up all day for that matchup.
Worldy, hold on. I'm not seeing Jimmy in second round, bro. I do not want him in that second round.
Can I just tell you that Brian made a really key point. I don't want to discount Jimmy Butler because I agree he's the man too. But if they have a back-to-back, that is brutal. Whereas the Hawks, okay, we have 2 games against the Wizards. You'd hope we might at least split that. Maybe not. Maybe even win both. If not, but then after that, we then have the Magic and the Rockets. So much has to go wrong or right, whoever side you're on, for that to happen.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It's super tight in there. I love the Heat. I want to see them making waves in the playoffs. I think they are the only squad outside the top 3 that I could see making it into the second round and beyond.
Just so y'all know, Knicks, they got Lakers, Spurs, Hornets, and Celtics. Easy. Depending on who they play, Lakers could be the hardest game of all that.
We're gonna see. I'm gonna be keeping a close eye this week, though.
Yeah. You've ruined. Right. Here we go. Oh, what were you? Hang on. Let me do this. Hang on.
What a rookie. Golly.
What's that noise? It's the leaderboard time. That's right. It's right. Okay, good. All right. We're going to go to the leaderboard. I've messed that up, but good. You can do with that. For the last one. For the last time, the leaderboard, because next week we'll be doing the playoff draft. Can't wait. Right, for the last time, Bray, you're still in the bottom place, man. But you have 3 wins to go to clinch that 5th seed, which you should be proud about, but fair play to you. 170 to 237 at 41%. Your worst team is the Houston Rockets, and your best team are the Miami Heat. Miami Heat.
Finally.
Yeah. Still piping up with arm. Lancashire Lambert, 4th place. You pretty much locked that in, as we said before. 47%, that's respectable. 193 to 214. Your best team are the Nugs, and your worst team are the Cavs. Thank God you don't have to talk about them anymore. Wow, I thought it changed, you know. It hasn't changed. What a tease. The Perita Antics Express is still in third place. But when I mean...
Okay, so...
There's sweating going on here. I'm sweating. I'm not even involved in this race. So Wildy is 213, 197. And Jord is just above him on 214, 194. So percentages-wise, Wildy is 52%, 520. Jord is 525. That's how close it is. It's 0.05%. So Wildy, your best team is the Phoenix Suns, and your worst team is obviously Detroit. Jord, best team Nets, worst team Bulls. And as we know, House Lusky has wrapped up their number 1 seed. He's at 56%, 229 to 177. Magic are your worst team. Jazz are your best team. You've hit 50 wins. Also, just going to throw out there, Philadelphia 8-game win streak. One of my boys, very close to that number 1 seed. But yeah, discuss. I thought it was all going to change.
My gosh.
Squeaky in the middle there.
Yeah,
However,
I thought I lost it.
However, Jord has two games in hand. He's got 2 more games to play than Wildy. So it's close, but it's not actually that close.
Depends who those games are. I get what you're saying, Bray. I get what you're saying, but yeah.
And as we've been saying this whole time, who knows what's going to happen with these random end of season matchups that like people are either absolutely gunning for it or are like, I'm resting everyone. We've got 7 active players from the end of the bench.
Shit. All right. So we are done with division discussions. The playoff draft is next week. There might be some changes to the standings as of right now. Ed, Jord, Wildy, Matt, Bray, and then myself in the first round as we sit. As you know, if we decide to go live, maybe that happens. If we decide to do a pre-recorded thing, we will be there. It will be happening. I'm very excited for it. It's a lot of tension in this room. Yeah. So massive thank you to GMs for the amazing season we put on. And it's going to continue. And to be honest, there's going to be even more trash talking. And that's what we're all here for. That's what
It's only just begun.
It's only just begun. Yeah. So that's it from Sickman and all the other GMs. It is over and out for the last time in the regular season. Bye-bye to the trash teams. See you later. Bye-bye.
I'm not waving. The Hawks.
Yeah, I'm not waving. Fuck you all. We're not waving to them.
I'm waving goodbye to the Bulls, mate.
I'm waving with 2 hands.
Oh my! Someone's changed their tune.
I'm waving with 2
What are
hands.
we doing? Playoffs?
Yeah, but they're not now, so I can go.
Let me ask this as well. I was looking at the standings. Sacramento could make the playoffs.
Oh,
they
my
won't.
God.
Like, they're
Time
not
to
going to
end
make the
it.
playoffs. Goodbye,
Roll
Sacramento.
credits.
Goodbye,
Roll
Minnesota.
credits.
I'm just saying.
Roll credits.